Hi, Namaste, Devdutt
Namaste.
Pattanaik, sir. So, first of all, myself, Ekta Dubey, and thank you for joining our fourth edition of HR and L&D Innovation Summit and Awards. This is the fourth edition that we are doing, and this is the first podcast series that we have started. The morning one we started with Prabhuji, that was a spiritual connection, and the next one is you, again, where we are talking about mythology. So I just read about you on LinkedIn and on Google yesterday that you have been a mythologist, a speaker, a columnist as well, and your work talks a lot about ancient myth and the modern life. So my first thing is how it all started. What drew you towards mythology?
This was just a hobby, but then
Oh,
over time I realized that it was answering a lot of questions, and people were interested in the subject. So it was very organic. I didn't think too much about it, but gradually it just became people wanted to hear more and more about what I was saying, and then I decided to make it my profession.
correct. So, of course, I in 2015, I remember watching your episodes on Devlog with Devdutt Pattanaik, and that's how I honestly came to know during that time. And then we did refer your books also at times, and we always wanted to have someone who talks about the Asian mythology, and relate it with the corporate world today, because we are in this business. So, wanted to understand, since you said that it was an hobby and eventually you got into it, talking about mythology into spiritual level is different. Now you connect a lot of things to our corporate. So mythology and corporate, and your insights on business mantra, leadership mantra, how did it all started? What made you think that I should write books on not just mythology but also into the corporate world?
So when you look at business, we think that business is based on rational thought,
Hmm.
and it's not based on rational thought. For example, you have a vision statement, mission statement. Why do you have a vision statement? Because you want to change the world. So these are ideas which come in management. We take it for granted, but they really come from the Bible. And in the Bible, you have this idea of the promised land
Hmm.
and the good word. So the words like evangelism, I want to change the world, I want to make a
Yeah.
good life. ये दुनिया को बदलने की जो इच्छा है, these are very strong biblical ideas. And
Correct.
since all management principles comes from America and Europe, which are based on the Bible, they have designed the entire management based on a biblical structure. And
Okay.
that for a mythologist is very easy to see. So I said, if that is one way of looking at business, is there another way of looking at business? And I started looking at India. And India
Hmm.
doesn't follow this model of दुनिया को बदलना. It is all about दुनिया को value देना. So
Correct.
jungle में मंगल लाना. So
Huh,
it's a very
I
different
heard
way
that.
of looking at the world. So it is not that I want to change the world. I want to bring value to the world. Now that is a very different way of looking at business. The Western world is constantly trying to change the world. That if you use the iPad, your life will become better.
Exactly.
Well, Indians will say, no, it will bring value to your life. Better, worse, we don't know what is good or bad. So it's a different approach to business. And I wanted to highlight that. It is a less violent approach. The Indian management is based on principles of ahimsa. So I've recently written a book on Bakasur trap, which is the trap of the modern management, which says that you should be only greedy in order to be successful.
Hmm.
But Indian scriptures will say, if you're content, you'll be super successful.
Right.
जिसको संतोष होता है. So we are trained to believe that if I'm not ambitious, I will not succeed. But our scripture says if you're ambitious, you will fail, because even success will not be tasty. But if you're
Correct.
content, then you will bring a lot of value to the world and money will keep flowing in your direction. So it's a very opposite thinking, which is
Exactly.
what I want to talk to people about, that there is a very different way of looking at business. So, that's why I wrote the Bakasura Trap, Business Sutra. All my books are designed
Yes.
to make people question what they learn in MBA schools. Because we
Exactly.
forget they come from the East India Company. They all come from the East India Company,
True.
and they'll never make you happy. जैसे ईस्ट इंडिया कंपनी इंडिया को बर्बाद किया, वो अपनी
हाँ.
हमारी जिंदगी को बर्बाद, because we're trained to look at everything in a very aggressive
Aggressive way.
way, so our relationships gets damaged. Look at what is happening in the world. It's all Western value systems.
Exactly.
घूम फिर के they become violent and they don't understand. They think they're doing good, but they're really destroying the world.
The mindfulness is missing.
Well, mindfulness and all is all for retired people.
Hmm.
What you need is karma yoga, action,
Okay.
and how you function. So I don't bother with words like, because we have to talk about day-to-day life.
Hmm.
And mindfulness is, you can be a psychopath and be mindful.
Okay.
A mindful psychopath is a dangerous psychopath. So mindfulness is not about value systems, right? But business is about transactions. What I give you, what you
What you
give
give
me.
me.
I may be mindful, but how do I deal with people who are not mindful?
Exactly.
So the other, so business always looks at customers, shareholders, looking at others, which is what I talk about in my work.
Correct. So, do you think what I believe after hearing you that uh, we used to follow a lot of business culture from the Western. We impart a lot of from them. Our management schools, B schools, should adopt one subject that should be focusing on mythology and adapting some skills and from these kind of books. That
See, it
how do
won't
you
work
imbibe?
if you can't teach these subjects. People have now been conditioned to believe that you have to be aggressive and violent in order to be successful.
Right.
Unless the leaders of the country change their language, children won't believe in mythology. All our leaders, the business leaders, political leaders, they all are talking a Western language. So children think that is the only truth. So the
That is
only
right.
hope is parents, where in the house, in the family, they should talk about that. While that is happening in the world, you don't have to follow it. Now in India, we value our parents the most. So if in your
Exactly.
family, if you say that ये सब बाहर के लिए ठीक है, घर के लिए ठीक नहीं है, that how we can use management principles of our principles to make our world happy, our family happy, our teams happy. उतना ही करना है. उसके आगे you don't have to change the world because our leaders are all following the Western model. And if our leaders follow the Western model, children will follow the Western model. TV may they follow the Western model. Our films are following the Western model. By dressing up like Ram and Krishna doesn't mean they're
Doesn't
still
make you Ram.
following. Just abhi bhi tir chala. Ram is associated with bow and arrow, not with Ram Rajya and Raj Dharma. So they have reduced Ram to bow and arrow.
Exactly.
And that is where we lose कि वो धर्म का मतलब क्या है, what is the struggle that you face, because that doesn't, so these are people who are really western, I call them वो बादाम, बाहर से ब्राउन है लेकिन अंदर वाइट है,
हाँ.
सिर्फ बादाम लोग हैं.
They
because they
say
have not become Indian, they are not through and through अखरोट जैसा पूरा अंदर भी ब्राउन होता है.
हाँ.
हम
It
लोग
has
ये
to
लोग
like.
बादाम लोग हैं, ये सब अंदर सफेद है.
ये जैसे अभी आपने बोला, I was just thinking on that line that it should start with parents, right?
Parents in India,
Right.
culture
At
is
some
parents.
extent today, the parents might have an influence, but now kids go out, they go into colleges, they go into B schools, but there they are teaching the same thing again.
But
So
see, at the end of the
what's
day,
the chance that the child will adapt? That of course for the parents, but he will not change and he'll be ruthless. And again, what you say,
see, children are not computers where you can download software.
yeah,
They have their own mind.
right,
And what values, like even today, a film like Sayara or something is super
Sayara,
hit, right?
yeah,
The film does not have any Gen Z content. It is about love and sacrifice.
correct,
And so if children are responding to a story which talks about love and sacrifice,
sacrifice,
वो तो Gen Z का value थोड़ी ना है. That is a universal value. So you children also looking for love, sacrifice, conversations. And they're crying in this stage. So they're human beings. Gen Z is just like you. We used to watch Ashiki 1, 2. They are
right,
watching Sayara, but they're watching the same thing. हमको
thing
भी प्यार
exactly,
चाहिए. So we give these, at the end of the day, these foundation things don't change. So we should not forget that. We should not overestimate कि वो teacher ने बता दिया या textbook में कुछ बता दिया. The child has a brain. The child is asking foundational questions. If you have good conversations with your children, then they will learn more than from a teacher. You have to have an influence where they trust what you say.
absolutely. So we are badly missing on that part. Do you think our Indian,
We have outsourcing everything to, we outsource it to the maid, we outsource it to the cook, we outsource it to the tutors, we outsource it to teachers.
everything,
Even in the company, they outsource everything to HR department.
exactly,
It is not the way you work. So while that is because it's reality of life, but you have to spend at least 1 hour focusing on these things with people who matter to you. And I think our children should matter to us, our friends, our
yes,
family should matter to us. So those moments when you sit together, while you have fun, and you should make sure you talk on real issues and try to make them question negative values
correct,
and hope
correct,
that they will make up their mind.
right. So let's talk something about in this age of disruption where technology is coming. How do you think this books, this ancient mythology, is perfect for the leaders today? What they should incorporate? What business mantra they should
So
incorporate?
it's basically going back to the basics.
Okay,
It's no mantra, there's no magic formula. What you're doing is going back to the basics. And I always say that the world will keep changing, but the basics won't change. And I think somewhere along the line, whether it's AI and all these new technologies that are coming, that will keep coming. Something new will come.
Exactly.
But we have to figure out how to live our lives. What is our aspirations, ambitions, insecurities, curiosities. If we focus on those foundational things, I think we'll create a good society. If your team doesn't feel insecure, if your
Right.
team feels is
Right.
curious
Right.
about what's going on in the world,
Correct.
if your team feels opportunities are there, if you discuss the threats openly, we know the market is down.
Yeah.
I know that you want, even that much makes the person feel alive and makes them feel connected. They're saying, "अच्छा ये सोच रहे हैं मेरे बारे में." I mean, things may or may not work out, but let's talk about it. I think that kind of intense conversation when you start having, it helps a lot. And in fact, nowadays people are even doing chats with AI because they
Yeah.
feel the AI is having, because the AI is giving you feedback which is you think is honest. Of course, when it starts hallucinating, that will be dangerous. But right now, many people are finding, because they feel the machine is listening to me,
Yeah.
while humans have stopped listening to me. And
Correct.
that's not very healthy.
AI is a good as well as bad. I think sometimes
It's a technology. All
losing of
technology.
creativity is one of those things, because what I witness, even I have two kids, they would like, if they are given any project, AI. Why you have to go with AI? You should read books, incorporate those ideas. That is what I believe, and then you can make a project. But AI gives you everything on a platter,
Yeah.
and they
But
have it all.
see, the thing is, you have to ask them, okay, how did you put the prompt? And when the solution comes, can you analyze the solution that they're giving you? Then they start thinking. They're not just by accepting. It is like when you give them food, we don't ask people that why is rice served like this, why is dal served like this, why have I put vegetables. We never encourage children to be curious. We are output driven. We are not focusing on curiosity. If you focus on curiosity, now AI cannot replace curiosity. AI
Okay.
can give you output.
Output.
So don't
Correct.
fight that battle. Don't go into the output space. Go into the curiosity space. Curiosity is something that how many
They will
questions
always
have you
drive them.
asked?
Yes.
What have you asked? Why are you interested in this topic? For everything, when you start going through the curiosity route, you will realize that AI will become your friend. We are right now in the output route,
Output mode. Correct.
output mode. So curiosity mode is something that we'll always win.
So I read somewhere, that's why I've written here, that you often say in your mythology that truth seen through a cultural lens. Now I wanted to understand, what does this mean?
So when you look at things from a right wrong perspective or a judgment perspective, that's a Western perspective.
Okay.
ये सही है गलत है. So if somebody says राम ने सही किया या गलत किया, that's judgment. But the moment you say क्यों किया, that's not judgment anymore. Now that's curiosity. That's accounting. Why is he doing this?
Why did it
Now
happen?
why is a different question from he should not have done it. So it's a different lens. Your lens has changed. So now I look at a person, and let's say you're an HR person and there has been a misconduct. So you don't ask, have you done it?
Why?
You ask, why are people saying this? And then the conversation will be very different.
Different, exactly.
Rather than, we have gone from a judgment mode to a curiosity mode, to an analytical mode, to a accounting mode.
Correct.
Then you start looking at the person, he's worked for 10 years, he's never had a misconduct, but now there's a misconduct. So now I'll do a taraju. Now I'm looking at it differently. Rather than saying, why did you not do it? That's a very Western approach. Because in the West, God is a judge. Judgment day hota hai, kayamat hota hai.
हाँ.
In Hinduism, there is no concept of judgment. Buddhism, there is no judgment. Jainism, there is no judgment.
Correct.
So it's a different cultural lens. So West has taught us to be judgmental. And you see all our leaders also are talking judgment language because they are not Indian anymore. They're all badam.
Exactly. They are badam. They are not the walnut. They are not accrued. Rightly said. So on that note, just few advice that you would like to give today, not just Gen Zs. We all talk about Gen Zs. They have their own mind, of course, and there are pros and cons also as well. What about millennials? What they should also learn?
See, what
Your
doesn't
advice
change
to them.
is talk to human beings. Don't talk to packaging. And every human being is insecure. Talk about the insecurity. It doesn't change Gen Z ho, millennial ho, boomer ho, कुछ फर्क नहीं पड़ता है. These are packaging words which are being used. But tell me one human being who is not insecure, who is not
Everyone
jealous.
is.
So वो तो नहीं बदलता है ना. You can't say Gen Z does not have jealousy. Gen Z does not have insecurity. Just address those things that unites everybody.
Yeah.
So I think we should be, again, it's a Western model of classifying and creating these structures.
Yes.
And it's a judgment mode again. हर आदमी को insecurity है. I always tell people, look at the film Sayyara, the new film, and everybody's crying. Those children are crying. The adults are not crying, but they are crying. No,
Yeah.
something's happening to their heart. So there is hope.
There is a hope, yeah. No, because a lot of session that happens when we do HR summits. So a lot of people have this one challenge: how to deal with Gen Zs. You know, they show tantrums. They are difficult to adjust. We are trying. We tell them in the morning only. There was one gentleman who came up on the stage and said that whenever there's a discussion, we tell a Gen Z, "Tu abhi chup, thodi der udhar baith ja." But I think this shouldn't be the approach. He was apologetic about that also. That shouldn't be. But people have just created a hype of Gen Z today.
And now they have to also, they are under pressure that they should behave like Gen Z. So they are also under pressure now कि हम लोग Gen Z के जैसे behave कैसे करना है. So I think you have to deal in, conversation style is different.
Correct.
They've raised in a digital ecosystem where everything happens very fast. So they're used to this, so the anxiety levels are also very high.
Correct.
So you need to teach them slowly to adapt, learn from them. They will learn from you. That is the only thing you can do. There's no choice. They are the next generation. They are the ones who are going to take care of you when you're old. So whether you like it or not, they are going to be the nurses, doctors who will take care of us when we're old.
Yeah.
So they will be doing all their chat GPT when you are in the hospital or something like that.
No, true. So on that note, thank you so much.
Thank
it
you.
was amazing having you, and your session was definitely enriching. And we look forward to be connected and see you more often.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining my podcast. Thank you so much.